Hi, as you know, I've been doing a load of tutorials about mark making, unusual mark making for abstracts, or if you can develop them into representational, it's obviously you can. But I realized that how I developed all this is through masses and masses of experimentation and practice. And if you compile these experiments and practices into a journal and into a journaling practice, then you have a reference, so you can pull upon these ideas forever. You can lift them out of your art bookcase and use these for future reference. So what I've done is I've done a free tutorial, which if you go to the description below, you can get a link, leave your email, and I can send you the link to this free session, which is a mindful sketchbook journaling session. It is 10 sessions, each 5 minutes long. And what it does is it really helps you develop unusual mark making, and it helps you to get into the habit of keeping these beautiful marks for future reference. It's a wonderful technique and I hope you sign up to it. It's very enjoyable and really enhances your practice because you have these beautiful mark making references forever. The idea is then to go on and do a very long session which will really enhance your mark making and your journaling habit, which would be 10 sessions, 10 minutes a day for 10 weeks. So that would be 70 sessions, 70 workshops, all for you to do 10-minute journal entries, and it'll really enhance your journaling commitment. So what I thought I would do today is show you how these marks can be used. I've got a piece of stretched paper and I have finished it with a gesso primer. I'm going to paint these in different colours, and each one is going to have a different type of mark making to make a lovely abstract. So we're going to do 6 abstracts using the techniques that I've been developing in my sketchbooks, in the mindful journaling sketchbooks. I've just got a wash of rust. They're probably mixed, and I realised how beautiful that was on the page, so I'm just adding that as a colour just to see what happens. Again, you can immediately see the way I make marks. I love this. This is probably over confused already, but we'll see. And see how each mark that you make makes a difference, doesn't it? And then it's so difficult not to, to lose them with your next layer. But all these marks come from doing sketchbook journaling. I really want to develop this, and I love that one. So I'm trying to see what colour works best. In this there are very slight differences in the greens. It's a darker blue to the edges, and I really probably need that here too, which I haven't done. Take this darker blue into it, just so that it's not so solid a colour, because I just want to, it's practicing, I want to do one. So I'm just getting how I'm going to do it first. Again, what's really important here is that if I didn't have these already mixed, would I have applied it like this? I probably wouldn't. So when you finish these and you put them into your journal, you've got to note down that these are already mixed. They're not too, the pigment isn't too intense, they're going a bit strange. It's that because I do so much experimentation and I've got all this stuff that I use and let lay sort of lying about the place, it's not necessarily impossible to recreate it exactly unless you make notes about what there is. this has not got any medium in at all. It is just water and acrylic, but when it's a bit old, it's only about a week old, it starts to go a bit more gelatinous. There seems to have a sort of substance in it. I don't know whether I want this at this point, but I just love that colour with the green, so I thought it would give it a go. So I've ended up with those. And now I've got to let them dry before I go ahead and do something else. So I probably did some more when nobody was watching, which I shouldn't have done. But this one I have added paint, diluted paint, and then I let it run. Or did I dry it with a hairdryer? Oh yeah, I dried it with a hairdryer and moved it about the place. And same with some of these. I also added this one, this colour over the top of these, and scratched through it. And now I'm just having a look with my aperture to see what it is that I think I want out of them. Because once you've seen the sort of composition of them all, it's much easier to see what you're going to do next. And also, I have done so many just recently that I am beginning to understand what it is I want. So I'm going to use some grey, some warm grey. It's a buff grey, it's a really nice grey. I'm really into the buff greys at the moment, and I'm going to add it with white and a bit of yellow and see what I can make. I'll show you the next stage. Right, I've got a white here, and I've got my greys here, and in tonally, like, is that enough of a difference? They dry darker as well, don't they? But what I'm going to do is I'll try this because I can add some more, and I didn't mean to do that, so I shall do it down there. And I'm just popping it on confidently because I'm confident now. I know what I do and I know how it goes. I'm just adding it to white now with this one, just to sort of mess with it. So I've got a white and the buff grey here. So that buff grey was mixed with white as well. I must admit, I really like that. Just want to soften that edge so it's not hard. And then I'm going to bring this over a bit more over here, and then I get my favourite tools and I scratch through it, and sort of this has become one of my marks, you know. And again, it's nice because, and I know I sell them, so you do it with confidence, don't you? You don't care anymore. Or well, you care, but you have confidence. So there's so much you can do from here. I mean, I quite fancied having stripes in it, and I completely forgot that. But you see, I can, so long as I haven't let it, it's not too dry. It probably is because it's so hot. Yeah, it's dried too much. I think I might do it at the side. So I'm going to get a grey and pull it down here. And another one. I like that cold grey with this actually. I'm going to use the grey here. And then get a different tool. I don't like the evidence of my hand, so I've very cleverly butter icinged it out. And then I've got another little tool here, which is a sharp end, and I'm going to do my little, that's not working. I think I might have to wait till it dries a bit. I want to take out my little bunny marks like so. Need a piece of tissue. But you see, I've got a little bit of paint on there, and I might just smidge it over just to add colour of the other ones. But the idea is to just take off little vertical stripes off of it, and I want to vary the thickness of my mark just to keep it interesting, and I'm wiping any paint off that I don't want and join the two. I just love these funny little vertical stripes. It's not dry enough. Or you can go like so and just have a rectangle in there. So I did a rectangle, and I've taken off any bits of extra paint and put it on this one. So I don't like the lumps. I want it to look so that you don't really recognise it. Don't immediately say, oh, that's been palette knifed. Oh, that's nice. See how the colour's smeared across it? And again, you get these lovely effects you don't expect. I'm going to do that again. And drag the colour over. All these lovely happenings that happen without you actually intending it to. I like that one. Go back to my other one, see if it's dry enough to actually mark. See how it works one way and not the other. And then again, I like this other darker grey, so I'm just gonna smear it onto other bits. And again, work it out. That is going through the grey and the light grey, dark grey and the light grey, which is a nice effect. And again, you see, when you should note down what you've done. I've gouged right through there, and that's really nice. So now you can see that the light grey I put on is drying, and it is really quite dark. I wanted it to have more of a contrast tonally. Tonality in an image, it's the saturation of the colour, isn't it? And if there's two colours that are saturated to an equal degree, then it is not interesting enough. Oh gosh, that's lovely. So, and that was almost pure white, that one. So now I'm going to pull this down and mark that through with my little... Okay, so even that isn't bright enough, but we'll see how it goes. So the next one I feel confident about is these white ones. I mean, that when I say I feel confident, at this point I can go on and do something to these. And again, you know, what would you think would be good on there? I love this rectangle here, but I also really like the positive and negatives. You know, I like the mayhem of one part of it and the plainness of another. I think it works. I love this, which is what I just did. I got some of the paint that I'd used on the green ones and bunged it over here and drew my line through it. That's basically all dried except for the new bit that I put on. I think what I'll do is I've got my brush like so. I'm going to just add some marks in both the white and the grey, because I'm going to use it to then layer, I'll glaze over the top of it. I want to mesh it there, blend it in as well. But glaze over the top of it with a dark blue, I think, and see what happens. You see, even that, what happens when you really, that's lovely. But what I just did then, so I've applied this, you can blend it in, but then you can also go through it with your pencil, with your mark, and pull out of that. I love that. So you've got the one that's on top there, and then the one that's you're really bringing in the one from underneath, the marks from underneath. Yes, I love that. Let's see what happens with that. So let's bring this one down. I think this one could be generous with. And again, just interesting to see what happens when you use different forms. Like that's got a triangle in it, and this. It'll be interesting to see how that works. Right, I don't like them, so I'm going to get rid of that. In fact, I want it whiter. I might just, so even though I've smunched all that in, I'll just get, there's a big white, and I'm going to put that on top and smear it through and almost blend it on the paper. And then get my marker. Let's keep to the triangle. I wasn't going to because I thought that's too obvious, but in fact that's really nice, isn't it? I'm going to put that across here and smear it over as well. And take that down like so, follow the lines here. Right, we shall see. We'll see what happens to that. Oh, there's a bit here. Is that? Yeah, that's. What am I going to do? Oh, I'll go diagonally like the other bits are. Oh yeah, I love that. And then take some of it off if it's too harsh. And I might glaze over that in the dark blue again. There you go. Just to show you I got so far. I did a bit more work on there. I put extras on here, which was just left over from that, and on these scratchy things. And I'm now going to decide what colours can go next, and I'm going to try and keep it so that they're not three separate things. Try and, you know, amalgamate them a bit just so that it's easier. And I suppose basically I like this beige colour. I think I can make it work with all of them. We'll see. So I'm going to go this beige colour next. Right, so I've got two beiges. I'm just going to be brave. Right, first of all I'm going to start with these. I was just talking to somebody and they were saying how difficult it is to know when to stop and to have the bravery to keep going as well. And I said it's a question of confidence to leave it when it's ready, but also to keep going, isn't it? It's a complicated little issue, that one. And these are so nice, but I don't want it all that. There's a very faint square coming out of that. I'm going to try and get that in. I do like a square. Maybe not keep it all. And this one is calling out to have the vertical stuff again. Right, these, what I did really want is more of a glaze underneath it. So I wanted to make more of that white first, and I've gone and not done it, you know, forgotten. So I'm just trying to make the most of this colour. Well, there's a square in this one, isn't there? That colour is beautiful, actually. And then this one, I'm not too keen on this, on the sweep across, but at the same time it's quite nice, isn't it? I really enjoy glazing these things afterwards as well, so I'm not particularly worried about them at this point. You know, you can add so much colour with the glazing, can't you? I'm going to let that dry again. And do I want to add details at this point? No, I don't. I knew I sort of wanted a grey on this, and I was just messing and I got this grey together for another picture, for a blue one I'm doing, and I loved it. So it's just a tiny bit of grey and a bit of blue, and it was the way it sat on it. I'll show you. It's a nice colour for a start. Oh, that's nice. But this isn't it. So I'm just bunging it on and seeing what it does. Because this isn't it. And then I sprayed it with water just to see what effect it would have. Because of course some of the paint is still wet. And depending on how you spray it, obviously it moves differently. So you can use the spray bottle to get it to move across the surface in ways that you like. And I suppose as much as anything, I'm just adding textures, aren't I? Adding layers. And see that one where it's just a solid lump? Actually, I do quite like that. I might leave that. But see this one, say where if you wanted to reveal some of the stuff underneath, you just lift a bit out of it. Okay, I want a bit more of that solid colour over here, I think. What I tend to do is create an area of space or calm and an area of more stuff, more happening. And the thing is to be gentle and slow with it. Let it happen and see what happens. I mean, there's some really nice funny things. This almost looks a sort of mauve, but we'll see what it does when it's dry. But that would seem to be a nice technique. There's some nice bits happening to it. And I like the taking away from the mayhem of the darker colours, so you've put a lighter colour in just to see what happens. It's going to take ages to dry. So I've got so far. This is all dried from yesterday. There's some really beautiful bits down here. I'll just hone in on for you. And these are just really lovely, sort of the underneath. They don't seem to have much of a sort of structure as yet. I'll try my little mounts on them. I quite like that sort of off-centre, and I love this empty bit here. Might take that right down across. Yeah, there's some nice interesting bits in there, and I really quite like the original marks. So break this up again, I think, on that one. But I do like that one, but it needs more. And I love these. Yeah, I'm really enjoying them. And this bit was the mistake, wasn't it? And I really like it now. Yeah, that's broken it. It's broken my natural tendencies, because I meant to leave that space clear with the green on it. And then, but then I realised I started up there, so I just pulled it around and pulled it down. Again, these funny dark marks. Funny how they sort of talk to you, have something quite... Yeah, I really like those two marks there. Again, very unresolved. Very unresolved, but there's some really nice bits in it. And I love this faint mark of the square inside it as well. Very difficult to know where to go from here, because I've gone so dark with these colours. And I absolutely love these, that lovely dark, ochre-y, earthy green, olivey green. There's some nice marks there. In fact, I could take that down through there. I probably want an olivey green there, don't I? What I want is some of that green, some of this green, because it's in that one, it's in this one, and it's in this, so 1, 2, 3, 4 it's in. And then keep this one, that lovely faded, those faded colours. Oh, I do like that. That's nice. I really want to get rid of that strong line there. I don't like that one on that one. So I will blot that out. Sorry to think out loud on you. I forgot to press record, sorry. So I've put in this glaze, I've run it down there and through here, look, I'll just show you. And it just deepens that green. It gives it more depth, doesn't it? So I like that one. I've added it here and I've let it sit in the grooves. I haven't put too much on this one. And I've added it up here, but I quite fancy messing with the light blue in there, I think. I'm not going to do it on that one. I want to put this lovely faded out blue on here, the grey blue. Do I want it on this one? I do, I think. I like it here. These ones are sort of more complex, aren't they? There's more going on. And again, you can blend it through, or you can leave it on thick and it'll fall into the grooves like that one. Yeah, I mean, that's nice. Just completely alters what's coming forward and what's going back when you glaze it. It sort of alters the depths of it, which is really interesting. It works really nicely. I definitely don't want it on there. Oh, I like that. I wanted to take that across. I wanted to keep those lovely marks and take this out. And I like that blue as it is. I'll just put a tiny bit of this on and not overdo it. Right, now for another colour. In your absence, I got this powdery white and I've added it there, and I really like it on there, sort of disrupting that form. I'm going to put it, see there's a splodge of white there. I'm going to just see what it does if I pull that through there. Yeah, I'm not sure I like that. It's got mixed up as well with the lovely, because the other glaze wasn't dry. I want to get rid of some of this one way or t'other. Now this is, because I'm eliminating some, I'm going to just have to accept this needs to be left on to dry for a bit. But I want that, the soft look of it. It'll be interesting to see what happens to those forms underneath actually. You know, whether one can blot them out enough to satisfy me, or whether they'll just, you know, remain slightly in the background. And this, what you apply it with, makes so much difference. How you apply it and what you apply it with. Right, what about this one? This one needs glazes over it. What would happen if I just do that? And take it off so it's not a line. I don't want it an obvious line. It's a shame because all this will take a while to dry now. I absolutely love the effect of it sitting in the grooves and not in others, you know. And I love the sort of funny in-outness of it. You know, where it sits on top of each other and you're not quite sure which bit came first and which bit came second. That's an insipid colour that I've just added in. I do like, look how it's going there, that's nice. This isn't being obliterated though. Not with this, at least. If it was on a different substrate, I would probably sand that and just see if I could get rid of it that way. But I like this, I love this cloudiness. I'm surprised I like this cloudiness. But I don't want to use it too much on them all. I want a light blue on this. Shame things don't dry quicker. And I love this scratchy light blue here. I might do that somewhere. And must admit this is really nice. It could do with a really dark colour on it. So I've just put some light blue there. I missed it again. Light blue, no, here, on here. Which I do really like. Don't overdo it though. And it was partly because I like the scratchiness of that one. I wonder what. Because this needs sort of more power going down the middle. But I love these sort of, again, sea-like earthy textures of all this. I think it needs light blue in there. Not too thick, let it drift off of its own accord. And then I need it through here because I want to get rid of this. And I might just this one I'm going to really put more on top of it. I think I'm taking it down the contrast because I like these cloudinesses in this. So let's see what happens with all this. And of course it's put on very thin with water. You'll probably need to put a medium, acrylic medium over the top of these. And there's some beautiful blues in there. It's almost like, I need it as intense as that, do I? Well, I can start off with this and then go more intense. But isn't the glazing lovely? Oh, that's beautiful. Hope you can see that. Yeah, I mean, I like them because they get so complex. And it's like nature, when everything's happening, you can't see it all at once, can you? It all happens. And then instantly it changes. You sit there, you're doing a sketch, and the light's fabulous 1 minute, and it's completely changed. Not that it's not still fabulous, but it ain't the same. Now I'm losing the contrasts in this one between the darks and the lights. I'm getting carried away, but I'm getting carried away because I love all that effect. Let's just try some light blue on here. I've got to maintain a tonal difference, otherwise it gets boring. But I can put a dark blue glaze around this. I'm just enjoying the subtleties of these. And I might leave that because it's quite unpredictable, that. I don't like that because it's too harsh with everything else. But I do quite like the unpredictable sort of element of that. Not quite such a pool of colour there. I want the little nuances underneath to show a bit more. But I like this pooling here. That's just, oh, it's better to spread. Okay, let's see what happens. Let's try and let it be. I actually quite like what's happening there now. Of course it'll dry completely differently. But again, sometimes because it's done something unpredictable, uncontrolled, it's more interesting. But I do really want, I want more of these spider marks on here. I've lost them too much. And that one's, I mean, I quite like that as is. Depending on, I think that needs to go there. I'm really enjoying that. There's some nice bits on there. Done it again in your absence. I put some more bits on. Oh gosh, I've been recording sound all the time. I like this light blue on this green, so I'm just gonna take some of that down. It's too harsh for me, that green. So I've just got to mix light blue. I'm just going to see what it looks like. It's funny because, like, it looked okay on this one. It's not so good on that one. I think we'll have to see what happens with it once it's dry. See how it goes. I think I sprayed it a bit, just to make it blend nicely. Unpredictably. I don't like it going over that area there. Just see what happens with that. I'm not too keen on this yellow now, which I was so keen on in the first place in there. I think it should have been more of white. Too much colour in there, can you see? But it might be interesting when it's dried. So I think I'm finished. I think these are gonna do. I mean, I really like some of this one, which I really like some of them. This one, which I thought was lovely, I don't think it's worked and needs a little bit more work on it. But I just don't know, I'm not sure. And this one, which I hardly paid any attention to at all, has come out really nice, somehow or other. Yeah, I like that. But so it's the reveal, because I'm going to take this off and try and get this tape off without tearing it. I won't make you watch all of this. And then I will present the 6 of them. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you got something from the video, and I hope you're inspired to go on and have a look at the mindful sketchbooking sessions that I've prepared for everyone. Please send your email and I'll send you the link to the free 10-minute mindful journaling session, which is designed to inspire you to get journaling, to sign up for the very comprehensive mindful journaling sessions, which will really encourage you and inspire you to build it as a habit. Thank you very much for watching. All the best.